Hello and welcome. We're glad that you were able to join us for Hit the Road, Make Time to Gather Ideas from Other Fairs. We're happy to be with you here today to give you some ideas based upon what we at the Hartford Independent Fair have been able to do. I'm Lisa McCutcheon. I'm the 4-H Youth Development Educator in Licking County, and I've been fortunate to be able to attend each of our road trips that we have taken as a junior fair board together with our senior fair board over the last several years. And I'm excited to be able to share some of those ideas with you today.
And I'm Adrienne Anderson. I'm the program assistant for Licking County 4-H. And I get to also help out with the junior fair board, but I was also on the Hartford Fair junior fair board when I was in 4-H and was able to go on some trips when I was a junior fair board member, but also now working with the junior fair board in my role.
And my name is Alicia Tilley, and I am a Hartford Independent Fair Senior Fair Board Director. My areas are our horse department, and I also work closely with our rabbits and poultry. I grew up through the Licking County 4-H program and was also a Junior Fair Board member in my time. Didn't have the opportunity to travel as a Junior Fair Board member, but have had the opportunity to enjoy this activity as a Senior Fair Board member and the things that it's done to help us innovate our fair.
Now, to give you an idea how this all got started, it all actually started because of our junior fair board members attending the OFMA Junior Fair Conference in January each year. Way back in 2003, our junior fair board members who were there at the conference that year were speaking with some other junior fair board members from another fair in Ohio and learned that they had done a few road trips to get ideas from other fairs. Our junior fair board members were very quick to mention this idea to our senior fair board members, and the idea grew from there. The wonderful thing is that at the Hartford Fair, many of our senior fair board members make it a priority to visit fairs in Ohio throughout the year in order to visit with their colleagues and get ideas. So this idea was actually not foreign to them at all, and they jumped on board and were willing to help provide support to make it happen. Now, as you can see, we started making road trips the very next year. And the way that we have set it up is that we try to choose 3 fairs to visit when we travel, and we travel every other year. And when we travel on those years, we try to make it such that we are able to visit fairs that are currently in operation during their fair week. But that's not always been the case, and it can be valuable in either setting. And so as you can see, we've had the opportunity to visit a number of fairs throughout our time of doing road trips. We were not able to conduct a road trip in 2020, but we are looking forward to returning to our philosophy and tradition of doing road trips as we move forward into 2021.
So when you want to plan to travel, some things that you want to make sure you think about is to first choose a time frame. Our fair falls at the beginning of August, so we have done trips that happen before our fair and trips that happen after the fair. So once you pick a date that works well within your county and your junior fair board and your senior fair board, then you can pick what fairs are either in session or not session during that time and schedule. I would encourage you to find 2 to 3 fairs that are fairly close together, just so that way you're not spending more time on the road than you are actually at the fairs getting to experience them. And so one of the things we like to do is when we travel before fair, it's a great opportunity for our junior fair board members to have some social time and social interaction before we actually get to fair. It really helps build those relationships, but we've also had a lot of fun when we've gone to fairs that occur after our fair as well. So once you've made those selections as far as the time frame and what fairs, you want to make contact with those fairs that you want to visit and ask them, is it okay for you to come visit? Things you need to know. Might want to ask, what's parking going to be like? What's, admission? All those questions that you want to know. And then that way they know that you are coming, what time you plan to be there, all those details that you want to work out with the fairs that you are planning to visit. We encourage you to choose fairs that are very similar to yours as well as very different. So if you're a rural fair, you might want to visit a couple other rural fairs that might have some good ideas that fit well with your fair, but also maybe visiting some more urban fairs and seeing how they function within maybe the middle of a city or other places. So that way you get ideas of how all different fairs work. establish a schedule for the day and try to kind of stick to that so you're on time for where you need to be. Think about where you need to make stops, what time, how much time you want to have at each fair, how much time you're going to spend on the road. And then also be mindful of the commitments and the schedule of your host fair. So it's really great if you can go at a time when maybe they're doing their sale or something that you really want to see how they do, but just realize that they might not have as much time to be able to take you on tours, answer questions, and some of those things because it might be a really busy time for them. So please respect that. And then figure out what your transportation is going to be and what support you need to pull this off. So if there's only a small group going, maybe you could do a car caravan or getting a van, or in our case, we like to take as many of our junior fair board and senior fair board members who are willing to go. So our senior fair board will actually cover the cost of a charter bus that we all load onto. They support us in that way to pay that cost. And then the junior fair board covers the cost of the snacks and the bottled water and some of those things that make the trip more fun in that aspect. So figuring out where that support's going to come from. Do you need to do a fundraiser? How much is this going to cost the members to go? That support from our senior fair board is great because it really limits the cost of our junior fair board members being able to go. So then as you go, make sure you recruit your junior fair board members and your senior fair board members to attend. Both can really benefit from these trips and seeing all the different fairs. And be active in seeking out the junior and senior fair board members or the ring attendants, whoever it is that's working at that fair, and ask questions. Ask how things work, what they find works well for them. You might get some new ideas that way. That's the whole point of this. So be sure to take pictures, document what you see, what you like, what you want to bring back to the fair. It's really helpful when you come back to your senior fair board members who maybe didn't come with you and say, hey, this fair was doing this really cool thing with their show. Look, I have pictures, and then show them what it is. And so it's a really helpful way to bring those ideas back. Certainly focus on the junior fair programming. There's some great things that you might see that have to do with more the senior fair side of things. But you are on the junior fair board, so definitely focus on seeing what's going on with their shows, how their barns are set up, what those events are, so that way, since those are usually the areas that hopefully as you as a junior fair board member will get to be working with, those are the ideas that you want to bring back. Be sure to visit with both the junior fair board and senior fair board members so that way you can get both perspectives from both of them as you ask questions and get ideas. And especially be sure to represent your fair well. If you have a junior fair board shirt, then be sure to wear that so that way they see you as you're walking around. I know our fair, when we have visitors, is very good that if they see a junior fair board group from another fair, they go right up and engage them and answer any questions and welcome them. So do represent your fair well. Make sure you're respectful, that when you leave that fair was like, oh, it was so nice to have the fair from, or the fair board members from whatever county or fair. They were so nice. We were so glad that they came. So lots of things to think of when you do travel.
Now, on one of the early slides, we were able to show you the years that we've traveled and the counties that we've had the opportunity to visit. Now, the nice thing is that while we're open to having fairs or groups from other counties visit us on any given year, we really make an effort in those off years when we're not traveling to invite other fairs to come visit us at Hartford. And so when we are hosting other groups that are coming into our fairgrounds, we very much like to make sure that all of our junior fair board and senior fair board members are well aware that they're coming and when they're coming and when they'll be there. We can involve those members, the junior fair board and sometimes senior fair board, in leading tours and making sure that they have an opportunity to see a wide variety of aspects of events, facilities around our fairgrounds. Now, we try to always make sure that we include both junior fair board and senior fair board interest from the perspective that we know as a junior fair board member, you are more than likely going to want to visit the departments that you might show in, as well as the departments that you might be serving on committees. With senior fair board members, a lot of times they like to have more information about maybe the facilities, fundraising, even talking to senior fair board members or office staff in regards to how they organize events at their fair, how they organize their office, how they hold events throughout the year, or maybe we even work with rentals outside of the fair dates. But we've been really fortunate that when we have fairs visit, that we have a great opportunity to have many of our junior fair board and senior fair board members involved from either the aspect of helping to greet them and lead them on tours, or by seeing them out and about on the fairgrounds and being able to welcome them and introduce themselves and make sure that the guests know that they are very much appreciated and that we're happy to have them. We're also very fortunate that we have vendors on our grounds who also like to promote and support the opportunity for fairs to exchange ideas. And so we have a few of our food vendors that are very generous and gracious in providing either lunch or snacks or dinner while our guests are there with us. Sometimes it's nice for our visiting junior fair boards to be able to meet in one of our buildings, have their lunch, talk about some of the things that they've seen, maybe talk about where they're headed next. But it's an opportunity for them to be able to sit down all together. And it also reduces the amount of cost that they might have in visiting our fair. We've always been very good about making sure that when groups come, that we know that they're coming, that we are able to meet them at the gate and escort them onto the ground. So there's also no need for admission, which also can sometimes be a limiting factor for some of our groups that might be traveling to visit a number of different fairs. Now, we also like to offer time for questions and discussion. And so a lot of times when our visiting fairs arrive, we will greet them at the gate. We have one of our main buildings that is really just used for senior fair board meetings, some special events, but it's really closed to the public during the fair itself, the Babcock building. And so we will welcome them to use the Babcock building as kind of their point of contact. So that's where we start out. They have access to restrooms. They can sit down at tables. We can have discussion, maybe pass out materials about our fair, the schedule for the day. If we maybe have some souvenirs we'd like to share with them, we can present it to them at that point. Send them out on their tours, but then also remember that they probably need some free time to adventure on their own. And maybe that's to see a part of the grounds that is of particular interest to them. It also may be that they want to take in that particular fair food or go visit that particular vendor that they're familiar with. And so we need to make sure that we always realize that they need a little bit of time on their own. And so that is something that we leave up to them as far as the visiting group to decide how much of that and when they'd like to do it. And then we simply help to make it happen. We also have to realize that not everyone on our junior fair board and senior fair board may be able to have a presence during that particular visit. There are indeed times during the week that we have committees that are very much involved in running a show or a sale, and they simply can't take time away to be able to help with welcoming that group or showing them around the grounds. But the ways that they can be involved is by greeting that group when they see them in their barn, maybe at their show, or introducing that group over the PA if they're running a show or are in the midst of sale. All of our junior and senior fair board members are very good about pointing out to our audience, and that being our exhibitors and their families, when we have other groups visiting, because they enjoy knowing that there are other folks there getting ideas and sharing ideas as well.
So we've talked a lot about how and where and when we typically do our trips and why we do our trips, but you're probably asking, well, really, what's in it for me? I'm just on the junior fair board. Why is this beneficial for me and my senior fair board to travel around the state to all these different fairs? There is several benefits. In the 4-H and FFA world, our main motto is to make the best better. Look at these opportunities to visit these fairs as taking little bits of information to help make the best better at your fair. You'll gain perspective on new ideas and programs. Maybe you have a challenge at your fair and a fair that you visit has a new solution for you to consider. Rediscover what you have, be thankful for what you have, and take pride in your work. Putting on a fair and the shows and all the work that we put into these opportunities for our youth to exhibit their animals for those 7 days or 5 days, that's a ton of work. We should really take pride in that and take this as an opportunity to be very humble about what you have and invite folks into our world. Look at the differences and accept the limitations. So where we're at for Hartford Independent, we're a pretty rural fair, although we're very relatively close to urban areas, but our fair is very large. We have a lot of space to move around in. But there are some limitations based on where your fair may be located. If you're a very urban fair, you might be a little landlocked. So you kind of have to take the different perspective on, well, I like this idea, but how could I take it and use it at my fair? It might be a little bit different to do. So just be open to those opportunities of how you can innovate what you have based off of what you've got to work with. Different roles and responsibilities. I can honestly say, as somebody who has come up through the ranks of junior fair board and now sits at the big table as the senior fair board, you never really understand what everybody has to do every single day. So having this opportunity to go on the road show essentially and checking out the different commodities and the different areas and the different fairs and how they do things, how they stall, how they run a show, that'll allow you to see what you might be missing in other areas of what you do sitting on the junior fair board or the senior fair board. It's a collaborative effort to really gain perspective of how you can innovate what you have and maybe see a different role or responsibility you need to add to make something better. And my favorite part are these last 2 bullet points. The 2 biggest benefits is building those relationships, whether it's within your junior and senior fair board or whether it's across into different counties and their different fair programs. Working as a director over the year of 2020 has been extremely hard and tough. And we have really needed our lifelines of our resources from the relationships that we've built at different opportunities to see our fellow senior fair board and junior fair board members. We wouldn't be able to successfully do what we do and have passion for doing it if we didn't have those relationships. So this is a fun opportunity to really team build with your partners in the fair world, whether that's someone at a neighboring county that works in the same commodity, or whether it's just working with your junior fair board members. It's always the best opportunity to have that chance to really learn about the people you're working with, especially junior to senior fair board, before you get to the fair. So that way everybody works well together. You know how each person works in different types of situations and how to approach different problem solving things. Have fun. It's the fair. We have to have fun. So whether we're visiting a fair or whether we're hosting, be very prideful of what you had, but be humble of what you have, because we don't want to come across a little bit too boastful by any means, because everybody has something to be proud of at the fair that they're putting on. But have fun with your fellow 4-H members and FFA members on that junior and senior fair board. We all do this for the same passion, and that is to have a fair and have some fun. So just keep that in mind. I know some of the things that we do, we like to do different activities on the bus, whether it's a scavenger hunt or different team building opportunities between the different sites. Typically when we set out to explore the fairgrounds, we do that with our junior fair board. Once the senior fair board checks in with the local or the board there at the fair, we go and find our junior fair board members so we can check out what everybody's doing, from cages to running a show. There's always something that we can use to innovate what we have. So looking at the opportunity, biggest thing here is decide when you can travel. Probably not the best idea to go the week before your fair. I'm just going to toss that one out there. Probably not wisest, but there could be other opportunities. Like I said, if you're a late fair, like Hartford Independent is a little bit later in the fair season. So if we have some time, we could always pick up the June or July fairs and have that team building opportunity. Maybe we want to take some time after the fair and we identify those fairs that fall a little bit later in the year and see how they do things. Costs and how to cover them. As a senior fair board member, this is something that we are champions of, making sure that our junior fair board members are ready and prepared to help us make their show experience and their youth experience the best it can be. So we take on that cost, but that's something that we have taken the time to do. But think of different fundraising opportunities. I know I've been to several fairs where they'll hold ice cream scooping, or they'll have lemonade shakeups, or maybe you have to do a sale of some sort prior to going out. But look at all the costs involved. Do you want to carpool? Do you want to do an overnight trip? I know there's some counties that do look at this as an overnight opportunity and they hit several fairs over a Saturday into a Sunday. So just explore how big or how small and what works with your budget. Contact that fair to discuss those options. Definitely want to reach out to that fair office find out what contact person is going to be the best resource for you, whether it's going to be your extension educator, maybe it's a key senior fair board member, maybe it's the fair secretary. Just find that person that's going to be that key contact person and work directly with them. Typically, they're also going to be the person that's going to host you when you get there. So just keep that in mind of how busy or how easy they are to catch that week of the fair. One thing you want to also think about is going when the fair is not going on, because that'll give you a chance to see building layouts and how to maybe put those cages and show spaces together, especially if you have a lot smaller show rings. I know that's something that really helped us as we were building new buildings. We kind of took ideas of different places of what we liked and put those buildings and formed that opportunity for our kids. But making sure you have that good contact person and find out the best day and time to arrive. As Adrienne said, having a schedule. We have to have a schedule because we want to make sure we're going to be on time as a guest. So get that itinerary up and going. That'll also use that as your marketing tool to your senior fair board to recruit them to join your junior fair board, and also recruit your junior fair board members to go. So if you build that itinerary, and like I said, you can make this trip as big or as small as you want to. So if there are those fairs that have the opportunity that they want to do a weekend, maybe you build in there like a fun night at a hotel or at a pool or something like that, in addition to visiting fairs on either side of that evening opportunity. With recruiting participants, I highly encourage everybody to get involved here. This is one of those things that we really want to make sure that we're innovating for our youth for tomorrow. So having this moment of, hey, let's go to the fair, have a little bit of fair food. Who doesn't like some French fries or stromboli? And really have some fun and be able to see what other fairs are doing. If you can't travel, maybe it's just not in the cards this year, check out inviting other fairs, promote what you have. Maybe you have a really interesting and new event going on that you want to invite other fairs to for them to check out, especially if it's a new idea. So if you're having a special show, a special sale, or if you've just built a new building, invite those fairs to come in and visit. Just get them in the door so that way those relationships can start building. Because I will tell you, as somebody who's been on both sides of the table, having those lifelines have been phenomenal, especially when you're trying to help out your species area, because things change and grow within the show side of things, and you want to be providing the best opportunity for your youth.
So we know going on a road trip right now might be a little extra challenging, and we're not quite sure what 2021 is going to look like. So during this time of COVID, some ideas that even if you can't do a traditional road trip like we've done before, some different things you could do. First of all, consider visiting outside of the fair's active dates. That way you won't have any crowds to deal with. Things can be more spaced out. You don't have all the extra things going on, but you can still have lots of great discussion. You can see layouts, you can see what their barns look like, what their facilities look like, and have all those chats about how their shows normally run and such, even when the fair's not in session. Consider hosting a visit virtually to share ideas. Is there a way that you can do a virtual visit around your fairgrounds to show off what your buildings look like, to talk about how your shows run, how your sale runs, what some of your fun extra activities are? You could invite a speaker from another fair to visit you during a virtual meeting or possibly an in-person meeting as well. It would be great, if maybe you want to have somebody visit to talk about a specific show or species or a specific part of their fair that has run really well for them, and you want to learn from that experience. See if another fair is offering a virtual tour and hop on that, however that's set up, whether it's as a junior fair board as a whole, or if it's something that they offer that you can hop on whenever you want. Check and see what they have open for you. If you do attend during their fair week, please be careful to verify their schedule. They may have a different schedule than they normally do based on their needs, and also what their visitor guidelines are to make sure that you are following the guidelines. Each county health department has done a little differently with each fair, what the relationship is and how it's going to work for their fair. So just be sure to check out what those guidelines are to make sure that you are following them and that you are on the correct schedule day. But really the options are endless. Be creative and figure out what works for you.
So we hope that you'll take time to consider your options and seek out new ideas. And certainly hitting the road is a great way to gather ideas. Keep in mind that it doesn't have to be a full board activity in order for it to benefit you or your fair. So if maybe your fair is not taking a road trip this year that's organized, maybe you have an opportunity to go visit a fair that is convenient to you with your schedule, that you and maybe your family or maybe another junior fair board member or two head out and venture to take in those couple of extra fairs and to gather ideas. The neat thing is that regardless of how you feel about your fair, every other fair in this state has ideas and opportunities to offer. And so sharing those ideas and bringing back new options, new ideas, new activities, maybe new features that you can include in your fair can be something that will make your fair's program stronger. And so whether you're venturing out by yourself or you're going to hit the road in a charter bus, we know that sharing ideas and gathering ideas from other fairs can be just what your fair is looking for. So try to take advantage of the opportunity. Work with your junior fair board and your senior fair board members to determine what the options are for you. And should you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Alicia, Adrienne, or myself. We would be more than happy to answer any questions. And certainly we always extend an opportunity that if you'd like to visit the Hartford Independent Fair in August, we are there and waiting to welcome you with open arms. So thank you for being with us today. We hope you've picked up a few new ideas and we wish you a successful 2021 Junior Fair Board year. Take care and stay well.